Sorry for the delay. Thank you so much for your patience. Hey, what's up, Jeremy? Thank
What's
you.
up? You're welcome. How you doing?
I'm good. So, create your destiny by taking charge of your life. I'm your host, Sid Tran, and today we'll be talking about how to prioritize your finances during a crisis, as our current situation with COVID-19. So I have Jeremy Walters, who also calls himself the modern day Rothschild, aka hence your Instagram handle, Lost Child. I like that. You know what's funny? When I actually saw that, because I know Jeremy because we DJ together, right? And so when you put Lost Child, I was like, was he thinking Rothschild? But I had no idea that you were also in the financial industry until that one day when I ran into you and you were all dressed up to the T. I was like, okay, let me find out. But welcome, and please introduce yourself and tell us, really what you do.
Well, as you know, a DJ. I've been doing it for years, but all the while I've been involved in finance in some way. When I moved to DC, I was working at GNC corporate. Then I started working at a nonprofit. Then I took a little bit of time off from like a corporate life to pursue DJing full time. Got burnt out. Then went back into the corporate setting, and kind of put DJing to the side just as like a kind of like a weekend kind of thing.
Yeah.
But where I got most of my experience was at my last job, and I was a financial analyst. And basically, what I did, I managed short-term investments, as well as treasury operations. And I'm not going to name the company, but
That's fine.
we made a lot of money. It was a multi-billion-dollar company, and I was in charge of about $100 million in investments, as well as a $40 million bank account.
That's a really good
Just
portfolio.
from day to day. Yeah. It was kind of crazy. And then after that, I started freelancing and building financial models, a little bit of real estate evaluation as well. And then I kind of took my trading to the next level because I already knew how to do the analysis. I already knew how to do valuations for companies and valuations for stocks and whatnot. So I took that knowledge, and that's kind of basically what's getting me through this quarantine, honestly.
Wow, that's amazing, because we could go into such a deep rabbit hole when it comes to finances. So it's going to be hard for us to talk about so much within a 30-minute time frame. And so, I really want to kind of keep it focused within our current situation. So currently we are in a serious crisis, one in which we've never been in modern day history. So last week alone, 6.6 million people applied for unemployment benefits.
Yeah.
When one is in such an uncertain situation, how do we assess and prioritize where our money goes to first?
Well, my advice and what I actually had to do, I did this a few months ago, but you really want to be critical and very analytical of your finances. Like, I rely on spreadsheets because I didn't necessarily know where all my money was going. I didn't really, take inventory of all the subscriptions that I had. You got your Netflix, your Hulu,
we
and all
sign
that.
Up or automatically.
Yeah, exactly. You sign up, it comes out of your account. You're assuming you're making good money. You're not really paying attention. It just kind of comes out of your account. Like, oh, blah, I paid Netflix.
Right.
But what I advise everyone to do is really, really look at your bank statements, see what you're spending money on, and try to trim the fat. Because there's a lot of things that you can get rid of that you just don't need. And also, like, I got a new phone last year. Didn't even realize that getting a new phone with AT&T, they give you like free channels, like Hulu and HBO and Showtime come with it for a year for free. So I was basically paying for something that I didn't even need. So I had to get rid of that. But yeah, prioritizing finances, take stock of everything that you have, and you can take a basic approach. Your income needs to be higher than your expenses. That's just step one. And then after that, you can figure out a budget for yourself. And I think that's like the first step.
going into that, once you have, let's say you have a certain amount of money saved, right? And you're confused if you want to pay down your debt first, invest, or hold on to cash. But it's hard to say what is a priority in this current situation. So what should one do?
Well, priority would be managing your debt in this situation. I put that as a top priority as number one. And then number two would be trying to make the money that you do have work for you. So as far as like managing debt goes and paying your bills, I talked to another friend and I was like, hey man, like call the companies, call your service providers, because they can work out, a deal with you where, either your rate could be lowered. You can put your payments on hold for a few months and, work out a payment plan after with no interest or no late fees, no penalties or anything like that. But you have to really put the effort in to get in contact with, the people that you're paying each month. Like, for example, my internet provider, RCN, you can call RCN and they will work with you. That way you don't have to worry about your internet being cut off. You don't have to worry about, incurring any late fees or any penalties or anything like that. It's just you working with the people that, you have to pay.
So there was something that I read and I did not get a chance to verify it. And it was talking about when you do make those phone calls, that you have to be specific in what you say. You can't just say, I lost my job. You have to say, I lost my job because of coronavirus. Because apparently, if you say you just lost your job, they can't help you. But if you say I lost it due to the certain circumstances right now, that then they're willing to help you. And the unfortunate thing is, if you don't know that they can't do anything for you, or they can't walk you through that. So that's important to know.
You have to have a legitimate financial hardship. And that this situation obviously qualifies as that.
Okay. What are options for an unemployed individual besides, applying for unemployed benefits, to help pay their bills? So one thing you did say was, help call your bills and whoever's managing it to see if they can work alongside you. We can try to do unemployed benefits. What else could we do?
As far as like besides unemployment, you can apply for grants. There's a lot of them out there. A lot of them are actually kind of geared toward like the service and hospitality industry. They're actually kind of more than unemployment, because some of them go up to $2,500. I've actually no, I take that back. I've seen some for like $5,000.
Oh wow!
But yes, so there's grants
Where
available.
Would one get information when they need to access something like that? Because it's scary right now. You don't want to give your very personal information to some random website.
No, you don't. What I did is I got it kind of through word of mouth, and then I, went on the internet, did my research to verify it. So it's been through like 2 or 3 people before, it got to me, so I can make sure it's legitimate. But yeah, I understand what you're saying. You don't want to like give out your personal information, just, randomly like this.
Okay. And another question for parents, right? Because I'm a new mom, and I'm looking at 529s, basically college savings. So what can we do as far as, do we hold off on putting money towards our kids' savings? What are our options?
I'd say if you have the means to do it, don't stop. Like that's just, blanket statement for the situation. Like if you have the money to get through this, or like, some wiggle room, and you're still comfortable, don't stop contributing to what you're doing, because you're losing out on the time value of money. You're losing out on that compound interest, and whatever interest rate you have in that savings account, you're losing out on that if you don't contribute. So I'd say keep contributing to that. Especially if you have like a Roth IRA. It's kind of personal, but I rolled over my 401k into a Roth IRA just because I don't work in a corporate setting anymore. So there's really no reason for me to do that, and plus I get a better interest rate with my Roth IRA. So that's what I did.
your Roth IRA, because you can only contribute a max every year, right? And so
as an individual, yes, but if you are a business owner, you can contribute a lot more.
What's the max for a business owner?
I believe it's about $55,000 a year.
Wow, that's incredible. Okay, I had no idea. So can you tell me a little bit more when it comes to your business Roth IRA? Because I'm not familiar with that.
It depends on who you have it with. Mine is pretty simple. It's just through Wells Fargo. It works the same way as an individual Roth IRA, but your limits are just higher. Like the limit that you can contribute is just exponentially higher.
Most people, because I'm familiar with what a Roth IRA is, what's the difference between a traditional IRA and a Roth IRA?
Well, with a Roth IRA, you can actually withdraw your money. Like you can kind of set it where, like, if you can set it up to like, hey, I want to withdraw this in 5 years, or I want to withdraw it in 10 years. There's no penalties for it. Whereas a traditional IRA is a lot more long term than a Roth IRA.
Okay,
and
great.
the interest rates are different on that. I'm not sure what the actual figures are, but I know in my situation, a Roth was better for me.
Okay. And so going back, if you're saving up a certain amount of money and the circumstances is really uncertain right now, how do I know I want to go ahead and start investing?
We're going to be turning the sprinkler on, so just mind the water. Just so
okay, thank you.
Hit you, but just
I will. Thank you.
So if you have a certain amount of money, say, like, hold on, give me a figure as an example.
Let's say you have $50K in the bank, right?
Okay.
And right now they're predicting that we could be out of business until the end of summer. Honestly, I think 6 months, but they're thinking at least end of summer.
Yeah. So, I mean, for someone like that, even if you have a little bit less, even if you have like 25, you can do a lot with 10 grand. Like, you can do a lot with 10K, especially now since everything is very, very cheap. As far as like the market goes. So I wouldn't, obviously don't invest all of your money, but if you can invest 30%, that'll set you up to come out of this, on top. For example, American Airlines stock is trading at about $9 right now. Actually, sorry, I quoted wrong. I'm looking at it literally right now. But it's at $11. I got it at $9, right? Previously, before all this started, it was about $30.
Yeah.
And like, this is just because of the coronavirus impact. Air travel's down 90%. So if you can invest in something like that, like airline stock, things that were affected only because of coronavirus, buy that, because as soon as this turns around, those stocks are going to go back up because those companies are getting bailouts, and travel is going to resume, as it was before this all hit.
Definitely. I was looking into like Boeing, for example, because there's only two industries that build airplanes, and that's one. And their stock was as low as, I think, $70. And I was like, damn, I should buy it. But at the end of the day, I have my moral values, right? I really want to make sure that my carbon footprint doesn't really make a big difference. So I kind of try to think about my values and where my money goes to. So I was like, as much as I know I could invest into this, because it shot up to like $160. And, you're making your money. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that to myself, because I consider myself an environmentalist, So I was like, so, how do you tell someone, like, when it comes to investing, should you consider your values, or should you just be like, screw it, I just want to make money?
I mean, that kind of that differs from hold on. That differs from person to person. For me, I'm not gonna say I don't have any values, but at the same time, I just kind of know how money works, and
well, you want to make it work for you at the end of the day, right?
Making it work for you, and like also if you do have those certain values, and you're really particular about where your money goes, and like, hey, I only want to invest in these companies because they're doing something good for the environment, I advise you to do the research. Because I'm sure there are other stocks or businesses that you can put your money in that are ethical.
So when it comes to research, right?
Yeah.
You know, everyone has their own evaluation. You used to be in an analysis. So how do you know that something is worth having and that what you're researching is correct or not?
So the first thing that I had to learn was, if you're reading Wall Street Journal or getting your news from like MSNBC, it's already too late. Like that information's already out there. You've kind of missed out on getting in or getting out. So I use Thinkorswim. It's with TD Ameritrade. Thinkorswim, like sink or swim, but Thinkorswim. Yeah. So that's what I use. And all the news that I get on this is literally to the second. So as soon as something comes out, it's right here. Can I actually show you.
You're saying on Thinkorswim?
Yeah, so I have the Thinkorswim platform set up on like the big screen, but over here I have all the news, right? So what time is it? It's exactly 12:26.
So it's literally happening live.
Yes, it's real. It's real time. Yeah. See, another one just came out. There you go.
Wow, that's awesome.
So that's what I use. And with those tools, you can actually, in the same platform, you can read through the valuation of the company. There's different financial documents. There's like a 10K, there's a 10Q, there's an 8K. These are released periodically on different timelines, but they include all the financials of the company. Now, depending on whether you're a growth investor or a value investor, you can make your decision based off that. A value investor, depending on what you want to do, you're planning on buying into that, provided that you've done all the research, and you want to hold that. You want to buy into it. You want to hold it for a long time. It provides value to your portfolio. Someone like me who's more focused on making money, I consider myself a growth investor. I want to buy something cheap. I want to, make sure it hits my take profit limit, and then I'm out. And the way that I go about that in researching and making sure it's something I want to invest in, I do my pre-market every morning. And at night, I'll just sit down and read about the company. And that goes back into, what you're saying about, hey, does this company fit my morals? You can find that out just by doing research on that company. You can look through their financials. Even if you don't know how to necessarily read a balance sheet or a cash flow statement, there's resources out there to help you. And also there's another app that I use. It's called Atom Finance. And that breaks it down a little more in like layman's terms.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. So my other question is, we've essentially had about over 11,000 deaths here in the U.S., which is crazy. 75,000 globally because of coronavirus. People are dying before their time. Is it a priority that we purchase life insurance? Is it beneficial?
Yes. Yes.
I'm glad you said that, because literally I bought it a few days ago because I have a son, and I was like, if something happens to me, I want to make sure that's set up. So, should we also set in place a will?
Yes. Both. Just like you, I didn't have life insurance prior to this year. Actually, my aunt kind of forced me to get it. But yes, definitely get life insurance. It's worth it. It's not that much per month. I got mine through Ethos. There's a bunch of them out there, but we all have ours through Ethos. And basically, the policies start at $19, I believe.
Can you tell me the difference between term and whole, and why should we get one over the other?
So there's with that, you have a limit. So you can go 15 years, 20 years, or just until you actually die.
Well, I think it's 35 years is the max. If it's 35? Term, right? You're talking about term?
Sorry, yes, term. So like, but I know Ethos tops out at about 20 years.
Oh, okay. Right.
But depending on what you do, I think the prices change, and the what is it? I'm looking at. I think it has something to do with property. I'm not totally sure. But that involves like.
I know you're not like a life insurance policy person.
Nah.
I was wondering. I just wanted to know if it was important for us to take our money and go ahead and make that
yes,
that a priority.
Well, yes, mainly because like if a lot of people don't realize if you're carrying debt and you die, like your next of kin inherits your debt. And that's kind of inconvenient for some people because like, yeah, you know, some people may have like $5,000, $10,000 worth of debt, right. But other people were carrying hundreds of $1,000s in debt. So get the life insurance policy. It's $54 a month will give you $1 million life insurance policy.
That's crazy. But when you do the $1 million life insurance policy, you're supposed to do blood work, if I'm correct, right? Is that with every single insurance policy? Have you done that?
Not the one that I did. Okay. I don't know if it's because like some of my family members are already signed up through Ethos, but I didn't have to do that at all. But also, like, I mean, not everyone needs $1 million life insurance policy. There's like the most popular plan. I did the research. It's like $29 a month, and they give you $450,000. Which, in my opinion, should be more than enough to cover everything and like make sure whoever you're giving your stuff to and all that stuff is taken care of.
Okay, and you also said you did mortgage too, or was that an industry that you were part of?
No, I was never in the mortgage industry.
Into real estate.
No. So I did real estate analysis, and basically all it is someone wants to say buy a commercial property, and they want to turn it into like a mixed use property. They want retail and maybe like an apartment complex on top of that.
Oh wow! So you're the person who helped the gentrification happen. I'm mad at you.
See, we gotta get away from this we gotta get away from this morals conversation. This is wild. But
I can't help it. You know, it's my nature.
But you asked about wills as well, and oh shit! Hold on, consulting humors in here. Oh man. That's terrible. So you asked about wills as well, and I use LegalZoom for my. I swear by LegalZoom.
Oh, yeah, I did hear about that.
Yeah. My LLC is set up through LegalZoom as well, and you know they pretty much handled everything. But basically, break down a will real quick and dirty. You get your general provisions, which is your designated. Your next kin who is in charge of everything. You have your statement of interment, whether you want to be cremated or buried. Self-proving affidavit, which LegalZoom will also take care of for you, and that's basically saying let someone witness you sign it. Your property worksheet, who you're splitting the property to, and then different instructions if you want to like add other stuff in there. And it's pretty affordable. It's a one-time fee. LegalZoom does it for about one. No, they have two. They have one for $99, and they have another for like $179, which gives you the full package with all the stuff. Awesome. And it's maintained by their attorneys, so you don't have to worry about it getting misinterpreted or anything like that.
Okay, so my other question would be, what would be the most important piece of financial advice that you would give to someone during this time as we're wrapping this up? Unfortunately, we'll definitely talk more, but you can only talk so much about money in 30 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. The biggest piece of advice, and I think I said it in the beginning because I stress it so much, is take a 10,000-foot view of your income and your spending. Whatever you can cut out, cut it out. I know everyone's binging Netflix and Hulu and all these different channels and whatnot, but it adds up. Like all of those cost at least $9.99 a month.
Yeah.
If you have 5 of those, you're spending $50 a month on streaming platforms alone. Add in Spotify, add in your other subscriptions. That can go all the way up to $200, $300 in just subscriptions.
Definitely. I literally went in and canceled so many in this, temporarily, because I was like, you just don't know what's happening for the next few months.
Yeah, exactly. You don't. And I mean, and say you get back to a spot where, you can actually, afford these things, then just, sign up for them. And also, when you're canceling these things, sometimes they'll give you a different rate. Sometimes they'll give you a month for free. It just depends. But you have to take the initiative to get rid of things that you don't need. You may think you need them, but you really, you don't. Right. Especially now. You can cut that out and focus on something that, will make you money. You can develop your own budget plan. Like, I know my finances. I don't know the ins and outs of anyone else's, but right. I can tell you that if, your expenses are higher than your income, you're going to lose every single time. You're always going to be in debt. You're always going to be wondering about, how am I going to pay this? How am I going to afford this? So the first thing, trim your expenses as much as possible. Budget, I do mine monthly. That's kind of why I'm always bugging people for payments when it comes to DJing, because I'm like, hey man, like it's
I'm like, it's coming.
Oh, I know. I need that now. Yeah, right now, so I can factor it in to that month's budget.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
That's like my advice. If you're not good with spreadsheets, there's tools online that'll do it for you. Use Google Docs. I'm actually probably gonna just throw up a template on like my Instagram on my bio, just like as a monthly budget.
You could do that. And also, how can people follow you? How can they reach out to you if they have questions? If you do consulting on the side, can they email you?
Yeah, of course. I'd say anyone on here can just hit me up via direct message. I do consulting via Upwork. That's like a whole nother platform. But if you just DM me, depending on how serious it is, I'll give you my email address. But it's just Flosschild on Instagram, and I'll answer any and every question that anyone has.
Awesome. Perfect. Thank you. And hopefully everything is going to go back to somewhat normal. I don't know what normal is going to look like after.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what happens, because it's an interesting time right now.
Yeah, it's tough. I actually have my girl Sonia Sheik. She's going to be on next week. She is a tax lawyer. She's also helping small businesses apply for grants. So if you're in that situation, please stay tuned. And thank you, Jeremy, for being on and taking your time to be here. It was super informative. I hope everyone was able to take away something from this. And of course, we'll have more conversations as things go, because I think it's important that we always learn about finance, because money's not going anywhere. You might be having hard times right now, but you're not always going to have hard times. You're going to make money. And so take this time to learn about it, so that when you do make that money again, that you make that money work for you.
Of course. Thank you for having me as well. Anytime I can talk about money, I'd love to.
Yes, no, you're going to be my money man. Okay. All right, love. So everyone hit him up at Flosschild on Instagram. So thanks for tuning in, and see you guys next Tuesday at noon with Sonia Sheik, talking about small business loans and grants and how to walk you through that. So thanks. Bye, love. Have a good one, and hopefully I'll see you soon.
Definitely. I'll text you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.